Welcome to the Smart Weight Loss Coaching Podcast. I'm Dr. Lisa Olson, a board-certified weight loss medicine specialist and certified life coach. In this podcast, I'll share fresh insights and effective techniques for incorporating mindset, habit change, and proven science into your life. Are you ready to achieve sustainable weight loss, wellness, and longevity? Then let's jump in and lose weight the smart way. Welcome back. Tell me if this sounds familiar. You're a woman in your 40s, 50s, or 60s. You're eating healthier and eating less than you ate as a young woman. You're walking every day, something you're finally starting to do for yourself recently. And yet, despite eating less and moving more, your weight is inching up. Welcome to menopause, ladies. The average weight gain for women is just over 1 pound per year from the age of 36 to 70. It's actually 1.1 pounds. It might seem a little silly to include that 0.1, but that's another 3.5 pounds during these years. So I'm including that in the total of over 37 pounds that the average woman gains between the ages of 36 and 70. Women who are 36 to 39 years old have the highest rate of weight gain at 2.2 pounds per year. So that's an important time to intervene and attempt to prevent weight gain, if possible. It's also typically a very busy time for women who are often trying to grow their careers while raising kids and juggling responsibilities at home. Surprisingly, there isn't a precipitous slowing of metabolism or gain in weight right at perimenopause or at menopause. I'll say that again. Our metabolism doesn't suddenly crash at menopause. That's what the research tells us. So if the data says we don't suddenly gain weight when our periods stop, why does it feel like it? It's because of the changes we experience in body composition, which means that there's a rise in our body fat percentage and a drop in our lean mass or muscle mass. This increase in fat and decrease in muscle starts in our 40s and continues into our 70s. Once again, aging drives weight gain and menopause drives changes in body composition. There's also a redistribution of body fat with increased central fat. That's the fat around our bellies. If you were one of those women with a flat tummy when you were younger, it's likely that your abdomen has become fuller and more rounded with age. Our waist circumference increases by 1/3 of an inch per year. This is for women. So just imagine that from the age of 45 to 60, that's about 5 inches that will land around our waists. It's not that menopause causes weight gain per se, it's aging that does that. But menopausal hormonal changes contribute to this redistribution of fat into our belly area. In fact, it's not just excess fat under the skin, what we call subcutaneous fat, it's worse. We also see an increase in visceral fat. That's fat tissue surrounding and even infiltrating our internal organs, like our liver. We get into a cycle where the loss of estrogen that happens with menopause increases our visceral or belly fat at the same time that age-related changes are causing muscle mass loss and increased fat mass. Having less muscle means we'll burn fewer calories throughout the day. Have you heard the term resting metabolic rate? That means how many calories we burn at rest. That number decreases with age as our muscle mass decreases. The slower metabolism that women have as they get older is due to having less muscle and a lower resting metabolic rate. But also, we tend to be much less physically active, which means we're burning less energy, fewer calories as we go about our day. All of this contributes to the weight gain in midlife. You might be wondering about my comment that we're less physically active as we get older. If your neighborhood looks anything like mine, you might see a lot of midlife and older women walking in the mornings. Yes, we're doing that, but are we exercising with the same vigor and intensity that we did in our younger years? Maybe not. Thinking about myself as an example, before having kids, I used to jog, take kickboxing classes multiple times per week, dance, lift weights, and bike, in addition to walking. So I guess maybe I am less physically active now than when I was a young woman. How about you? Less than 10% of midlife women meet the recommendations for physical activity, and 1/4 of us are less active than we were in our younger years. This decrease in physical activity is associated with the most weight gain, meaning being less physically active contributes to our midlife weight gain more than any hormonal change. We often focus on our declining estrogen in menopause, but there's a decrease in our androgens in menopause too. These are traditionally thought of as male hormones, but women have androgens as well. When our androgen levels drop around menopause, that adds to the muscle loss that we experience. You might be listening to this and thinking that things are sounding hopeless. Women get older, lose their estrogen and androgens, and start to increase the fat mass, including their visceral fat, especially around the middle of the body. Womp womp. But there is good news. There are things that we can do. As I mentioned, fewer than 10% of midlife women are getting enough exercise. The less we exercise, the more we're impacted by the change in body composition that slows our metabolic rate. Well, that is something we can change. This might become your NBA, your next best action for today. If you're not as active as you used to be, what's one thing you can do today to move your body a bit more? And what kind of intention can you set going forward? I always encourage women to write down these intentions in a health journal. Writing it down and tracking what you do improves the likelihood that you'll take action and stick with it. Another piece of good news. Most of us decrease our calorie intake as we reach midlife, but despite that, we're eating more fat and less fiber. As the women in my program know, your exact calorie intake is far less important than the composition of those calories. That old saying, you are what you eat, there's something to that. If we eat more fiber, ample lean animal or plant protein, and vegetables, our bodies will reward that dietary composition with an improved body composition. What about symptoms of menopause like hot flashes and night sweats? These seem to impact our body composition too, though we don't know exactly how. One hypothesis is that when we're having hot flashes and night sweats, we're less likely to get into that deep restorative kind of sleep, and also less likely to want to be physically active. And as you know from this podcast, interrupted sleep and inadequate sleep are both drivers of cravings for hyperpalatable, ultra-processed foods. When we don't sleep well due to night sweats, we don't feel rested and refreshed, which impacts our food choices the next day. Menopause is also a risk factor for sleep apnea, which is when we stop breathing temporarily during sleep. These pauses in our breathing, called apneic pauses, prevent us from achieving that deep, restful, restorative sleep that is critical for our bodies and our brains to function optimally. Let's think for a moment about the bidirectional nature of temperature dysregulation in midlife. Women who have night sweats and hot flashes aren't sleeping well and may not like to exercise because it can trigger a hot flash. That contributes to weight gain. But excess weight also contributes to these vasomotor symptoms of night sweats and hot flashes. We weigh more, we have more hot flashes. We have more hot flashes, we sleep poorly, exercise less, and gain weight. It's a vicious cycle to break. What we want to do is control what we can control when it comes to menopause. First of all, we want to address prevention of weight gain at whatever weight you're at now. You might think that cat's already out of the bag, but that's simply not true. Addressing weight gain prevention today might save you another 11 pounds and 2 inches around your waistline over the next decade if you're like the average midlife American woman. You can prevent tomorrow's weight gain today. We also want to focus on appropriate treatment for excess weight. Believe it or not, there are no studies looking at outcomes for treatment with weight loss medications or metabolic surgery in midlife women specifically. We need those studies. But even without studies specifically addressing outcomes in menopausal women, We know that weight loss medication coupled with intensive lifestyle intervention programs are highly effective interventions to treat excess weight. And of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't encourage you to talk with your healthcare provider about the possibility of hormone replacement to treat menopausal symptoms of hot flashes and night sweats. Hormone replacement therapy can also help prevent cardiovascular disease, which is the biggest killer of women. I recently attended a class where I learned that hormone replacement therapy reduces the risk of cardiovascular or heart disease even more than a statin. That's even more than cholesterol medicines like Lipitor. That's pretty amazing. Back in the 1990s, almost all menopausal women were told to take hormone replacement. Then the pendulum swung the other way, and we feared using hormones for decades. Today, we follow the latest science that tells us there is this reduction in cardiovascular risk and other potential benefits of hormone replacement as well. When we use these meds thoughtfully and look at each woman's risk for certain health outcomes, we can make the right decision for you. To sum up, weight gain with increased abdominal fat is common in midlife women. It's aging that drives weight gain and menopause that drives changes in our body composition. As the prevalence of excess weight in women rises during midlife and beyond, it's important to implement strategic interventions, including prevention of weight gain, treatment of hot flashes and night sweats, and evidence-based treatment of obesity and overweight. Before you go, please don't forget to set your NBA, your next best action for this week. And also, please head over to smartweightlosscoaching.com to register for our fall Women's Wellness Retreat in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. We have a summer discount available and space is limited. Can't wait to see you there. Thanks so much for listening. If you'd like more support during your smart weight loss journey, check out our group coaching program at smartweightlosscoaching.com. Until next time, stay well and stay smart.